Let's take a look at our 60-minute chart of the S&P 500, and we could take a peek at what happened during this week. Yes, you could see early in the week we did have the stock market moving significantly towards the upside late in the week, but early in the week it certainly was a floundering market, as you can see. It fell off here. The euro fell off as oil moved over $70 a barrel on Iran and Venezuela. And here's where POTUS says his decision to come on Monday afternoon on the Iran deal, and you could see that scared the market. They really thought the news was going to be bad when you look at that. Here on Tuesday, crude oil came and fell $2.50, and that actually broke the energy stocks for a few minutes right there, as there was a rumor that came that Trump said he would not pull out of the Iran deal, and you could see that was caused energy to move down. That really gives you a sense for how the energy stocks have influenced the markets this week. And then the news came out right over here on Tuesday in the late afternoon. U.S. had pulled out of the Iran deal, and the stock market, well, it took off from there and did not really look back at any time. You can see what happened during the whole week. Crude oil lifts here to $71, and the stock market likes that. PPI comes out only up 0.1%, so it was not at all scary, and that prompted, I think, Fed Bullard later in the week to make some comments about the interest rates already being at neutral. Look what happened here on Wednesday. Energy stocks lift the market up sharply. You can see that right there. Here, the CPI on Thursday comes out, and it's only up 0.2%. The core up 0.1. So inflation really looking docile here, and bonds started to rebound a little bit. Big update that you can see on Thursday. Friday, not much happened. It was pretty quiet in here, and got a little bit of a lift early in the day, and then it started to pull back. But the S&P 500 for the day still up about 4 points here on Friday, as we get with just about 2 hours left to go in the trading session. Bullard's comments that the interest rates are now at neutral also prompted him to say that, well, he thought that the rates didn't have to go up anymore, that they could stop right here. And we have only a modest firming in the bond market, but I'll show you in the short-term view that we probably are going to have a bit of a change in here in the stock market, in the bond market, where stock market maybe is going to get some sort of a pullback, and I'll show you that. But the bond market, we might have seen for the near term the worst of that. So I'll show you that again in the short-term view. So the stock market, we said we thought this market would move up this week. We thought that it would move up into the 2700 S&P level to 2709, a resistance zone. On Wednesday, we talked about the 2716 area in future speak. If you want to see all of our broad analysis on the weeklies and dailies on all of the 23 different futures contracts, you really need to watch Future Speak. That's a level 2 membership or higher if you want to watch that. So the stock market got legs on the upside, and the Russell's the strongest of them all, the NASDAQ next. You saw that in the momentum charts that I showed you on the stock index report. And then the S&P 500 is lagging them, and the Dow lagging very significantly of the 4 indexes. The Dow not even at a 50% recovery yet, where the S&P 500 is at about 60 and the NASDAQ at about 70. So all that because of Apple on the NASDAQ. So where we are right now in the S&P 500 is that we saw a more favorable pattern happening, and that's why we upgraded it to a rally last week, and it's moved up through some significant resistance areas. So here is the pattern that we're looking at now in the S&P 500. Now, I've gotten some emails from our members that say, well, these charts, these cycles are not in line with the NASDAQ. That's true. The NASDAQ actually made its low over here on 423. The stock market made its low here in 503, on 5.3. So there is a disparity, or what we call an out-of-phase situation in these indexes, and sometimes that happens. So some key things in here. You got to move up through the VTL. That's this line right over here. That was a VTL breakout. That also gave you the exact moment where you had momentum switch to the upside. We showed you the short-term momentum in the stock index report. And now you see we're getting up to close to the intermediate 61.8% from the weekly. So we saw this shift, we saw this rally coming. It's gotten up higher than the resistance zone we were looking at, but not by that much. And this area right over here, 2745, is a pretty realistic area for it to try to get to, but it does not change the big picture at all in the stock market. As a matter of fact, when I look at this date right over here on the bottom on this cycle, that's June 12th. This one right over here, well, that's June 12th, as they're nested on the bottom. So we still see a lot of risk when this rolls over into June. Well, what do we think is going to happen in the next week? We think it's going to be a down week. We think it's going to roll over. That this minor pattern right in here is going to pull it down into this rising support level right there. It's rising because we don't have a good anchor point yet on the top, because we're still moving to the upside. So this, now we're looking for only a minor pullback. 2682 is where that number is right now. Well, that would be only about 41 points to the downside over the next, we'll call this 5 to 7 trading sessions in here. Then get another rally, and then we think that's when we get into that period of higher risk right over there. The period of high risk that we had in here was like right in here, changed because of the way this shifted. So that interpretation was proved to be incorrect. And that's just the way it goes. Analysis works sometimes and it doesn't work sometimes, and we do our best to keep it about 2 to 1 being favorable, and 65% for this week I'm happy with. And we've been having a lot of weeks in that area. So we're looking for a rolling over here in the week, more struggling. Maybe it's the financials that pull it down. Maybe it's the oil stocks that have led the way that now suffer from a retracement to the downside in oil that we see coming. But we see this pulling back, but not pulling back in a big way and then moving to the upside again. Again, over the next 5 to 7 days, something like this, then another rally over here, and then entering into that riskier period over there. If we get above the 2745 level, we will then be raising our downside objectives during this period. However, still not having any indication that the correction is over with. It would take a move above the major 78.6%, which I actually don't have on this chart, I have on the weekly, which would then give us a reason to believe that we had a really early bottom and that the triangular shape was the whole correction. So that's a very important thing to be looking at big picture. Here's the big triangular shape right in here that we've been trading in, and for the short term. For the longer term, it's a little bit bigger, and you could see that, you know, we have a nice little attempted uptick right over there through the numbers. So we'll see if 2745 stops it on the upside. I think it will. 2682 our downward target, that's for sure. So that is a look at, did I say that's for sure? Well, nothing is for sure when we do this type of analysis. What we try to do is get the highest odds. Don't forget the stock index report. If you trade the stock market or the indexes or even care about them, for the what is the cost of a premium cup of coffee once a week for the month? Once a week for the month? Well, that's basically what we're going to do for you on the stock index report, only for the next 5 days. We want to load it up with as many people as we can. Write me slim at askSlim.com, and I will send you that special link and lock you up for that. $15 a month. You can cancel it anytime you want after that if you don't like what the service is. So incredible offer we're making right now because we want to make a lot of friends. So that's why we're doing this, so that we can all be friends and look and talk about the stock markets. You can make comments on the bottom of the stock index report and chat a little bit back and forth. So I think that's a really good bonus for this whole thing. You like the charts? I'll send you half price link for level 4, and you'll be able to put that on your Thinkorswim platform.